get started and just leave your comments in the chat if you are not able to hear my voice suddenly. And thank you everyone for again joining us. Okay, so I'll just jump straight into it, right? I think most of us are already very familiar with just the fundamental sponsored ads like on Amazon. So I won't touch too much into the details of sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display because we have a lot of introduction videos already on the YouTube channel. So just as a reminder, all these are self-service. You can actually log onto your ads console and launch a sponsored product campaign, a sponsored brand campaign, and a sponsored display campaign. But how to actually use it effectively together, I'll actually kind of show you today how to actually get started on a holistic branding journey together with all the different solutions that we have, right? So just as a reminder, right, this is how it looks like in terms of sponsored products, right? So you basically promote your own products with your own possibly with your own branded keywords, and this will how it essentially look like on the search results page, right? Sponsored products just appear as a standalone promoted product. I've seen many sellers who have used sponsored products and also bid for their own brand keywords. So this is important if, for example, you choose to run Meta or Google Ads, for example, if you're trying to run off Amazon advertising and you're trying to drive traffic for example, for American customers to start shopping on Amazon.com, it's actually important for you to do branded keyword targeting as well, for you to basically capture the people that are already searching for your brand. So this is a best practice for our sellers. If you are already planning to run off Amazon advertising, for example, on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, or on Google Ads, it might be worth for you to also bid for your keywords, for your branded keywords. For advanced advertisers especially, this is very important, especially once you started selling for a while, you've seen good growth, everything. You will notice that advertisers will take tactical strategies, right? You might become a very established brand already. So you need to defend your own branded keywords as well, because people might be, again, bidding for your keywords because they want to leverage some of the traffic or the organic customers that you're already getting once you start selling well. So this is how we kind of do branding and bid for branded keywords on your sponsored products. For sponsored brands, if you haven't actually seen on Ads Console, there actually is a new kind of development or a new launch on the sponsored brands setup where you can actually target branded keywords, right? So Amazon will automatically select a bunch of keywords that relate to your brand name, and essentially you can bid very simply with just one click of the button called branded keywords, and essentially launch the campaign on sponsored brands targeting your own branded keywords, as I mentioned. And why, like most of you, we always encourage you to become brand owners, to sign up for Amazon brand registry, is simply because it's going to have a brand halo effect. When you actually do all these ad products together, over time, your goal is to make sure that, for example, like if I'm the owner of GreenPot, I want people to think of GreenPot as the leading, for example, air fryer solution, right? So it's important for us to develop a branding strategy and then also to defend our own brand keywords and to actually drive and capture all the traffic that is going towards our branded keywords. So this is sponsored brands. Then just as a recap for our sellers, sponsored brands, it's like in a product collection format or a store spotlight format where you can call out either 3 of your different products, or you can actually call out 3 of your different product categories, right, that you want to drive traffic towards under sponsored brands. And this is how it will look like as a mock-up. Here they have like this brand. The example is that they have used sponsored brands to actually drive people. You can drive people to your store homepage, or you can actually drive people to the individual ASIN as well, right? And if you see the store headline over here, right, on screen, the tools you need to prepare the perfect meal, perk up your dinner party, pre-seasoned Dutch ovens, all these are copywriting that you can play around with and adapt your creative as well to suit basically the customers that you are buying, right? So you can learn what creative actually works best for you. So once you become a more advanced advertiser, it's actually best practice for you to do A/B testing as well. Very important to do A/B testing to find out, what kind of copywriting or what kind of headline works best for you. right? You might, for example, if I'm Green Pot, I might want to be targeting maybe moms or wives, right? Like, and the messaging has to be adapted towards moms or wives who, for example, they just want to quickly prepare a meal after work, for example. Then the second angle could be, for example, you might want to target new homeowners, right? People that have just bought their own house. They want like a starter, like introduction to all the kitchen equipment that they want to buy. So how to A/B test, like run 2 different sponsored brands campaign at the same time to see which performs better, which demographic performs better. So that's also one application we can use for sponsored brands. Additionally, when it comes to sponsored brands, we also have video solution. So actually, I think video is actually the most flexible solution, and it's the #1 solution on Amazon for you to talk about your brand story. So as I mentioned earlier just now, you can A/B test via product collection format under sponsored brands, or you can also A/B test video format, right? So as I said, if you're targeting a certain demographic or a certain profile of people, wives or working moms, for example, the video creative also has to be adapted and get that message across within the first 3 seconds, right? Because people have very low attention span. It's a great way to tell like the brand story and to target that demographic, or you can even talk about it in a very product angle, right? Just talk about the different features and the benefits of your product. I think that is also another best practice for our sponsored brands video. So my tip here is that in general, sponsored brands video is an underutilized ad product, I feel, and I recommend sellers to try it if you haven't already, because firstly, it allows you to target premium like traffic on the search result page. Number 2, it gives you a lot more flexibility. You can talk about any angle you want. You can talk about the product highlights. You can talk about, targeting different profiles of audiences you want to target towards. And I think this is a great solution for us. And then, of course, number 3, we have sponsored display. And for sponsored display, there are a few different ways to actually target our potential customers, right? So here you can see that in this example, sponsored display, they use both audience targeting, right, for sponsored display, where basically you can target specific interests, or people are interested in cooking, blenders, bowls, plates, etc. And then number 2, you can also actually, target people who have viewed your products before, like viewed your sponsored product campaigns before, but they might not have bought yet. So you can actually remarket to them and promote your product again. So the good thing about sponsored display is I would say it is the most similar in terms of like other advertising platforms, where you can actually target specific interest groups, right? This is great for mature sellers, because a lot of mature sellers, once your sales start to stabilize, the next thing you want to be looking at is new to brand customers, right? You want to find people that have never seen your brand. You want new people to buy your brand rather than getting the same customers to keep repurchasing. So sponsored display is going to help you, unlock potential new demographics, new customer groups that haven't seen your brand before, can get them to consider your product and build awareness with them. So essentially, these are some of the applications on how we can combine like 2 different kind of sponsored display campaign, right? Firstly, you target interest groups for people looking for a kitchen, and secondly, you can target, already like previously people who have seen your ad but they haven't buy at all yet. So this is one example on how to win with sponsored display. This is another example, right, using product targeting. So sponsored display is very, very flexible in another way, right? So the second way to use sponsored display is a bit more strategic. So for example, if Green Pot, they have just launched their products, right? How do you create a closed loop of traffic around your product listing? So I've said it quite a few times to different sellers before, but one way a lot of sellers incur very high costs is when someone clicks into your sponsored product listing, but then when the consumer goes onto the listing page, they notice that they see like, oh, so many other brands surrounding your product listing, right? On the top, on the right, on the bottom, those are all sponsored display placements. So one strategic way to actually create a closed loop or like a vacuum around your product listing, especially if this is your best-selling ASIN or your kind of a bestseller or your cash cow ASIN, is to actually use your own product, right? So if I'm green pot, I have this shelf rack, I have this blue shelf rack, and I'm also selling this red pot. I can actually use the blue shelf rack and target my own red color pots to defend my product listing. So this is usually a best case that we recommend to mature sellers that have a best-selling ASIN and you want to defend your ASIN against, competitors, against other brands that might be popping up all around your product listing page. And of course, the last application for product targeting with sponsored display is actually just to target within a category, right? So you can actually select categories to appear in, which is, for example, kitchen and dining, kitchen cookware, pots and pans, Dutch ovens, for this particular seller. So the first one is a bit more tactical. Basically, you're protecting your own product detail page. And the second one is actually to look for new potential customers, new to brand customers when you do category targeting. So that's the flexibility of sponsored display. Yes, and I won't touch too much onto this, right? But I actually do want to deep dive into this. Really sorry. So we have like a lot of free self-service solutions. So the first one will be stores. If you haven't already created, as long as you have 3 more ASINs, I recommend sellers to use stores. How to combine and drive traffic to your stores? We can use sponsored brands to drive people towards your stores and drive traffic towards your store. And how to use your store? Definitely, it acts almost as your product catalog. So we highly recommend sellers to, at the very least, use it as a product catalog. Best practice, you can add in widgets where you showcase your videos, you showcase like beautiful custom images, and you can include additional pages or tabs, for example, a bestseller tab, or if we're coming up towards sales season, for example, PBDD, then you can also call out that you're running prime deals or any kind of discounts or coupons, and you also want to kind of bake it into your store. Secondly, another free solution we have is our posts. So I highly recommend our sellers to use posts because it's free, doesn't cost you anything, and basically, it's additional traffic being driven right onto your product listing page as well. So all you need is just a logo and a brand name, and you can create posts. Amazon has AI image generators. Otherwise, you can use your own custom image, images that you have. This is really for you to build your brand story as well. So I highly recommend, and if it's free, why not? Number 2, a lot of sellers are concerned about sales, right? About conversion. So one major thing that really influences, I would say, especially for new sellers, right? How do you get your first sale? How do you convince people to start buying your product? Of course, ratings and reviews are important, which, like I think Jin Liang will mention, like doing fine. But the other thing to unlock better conversion is to really ramp up your A+ content and just make sure that you have really, really strong A+ content. Start with your bestseller, your products, and then, include very beautiful, high resolution, compelling visuals. So I think Jin Liang has like quite a few different live broadcasts on A+ content as well. So I highly recommend you check it out on our YouTube page. Yes. I won't touch too much into our Amazon Live. It needs to be operated with a advertising specialist. But yes, this is an overview, right, in terms of our ad solutions. And then going into how to mix and match for our brand building strategy, right? So recapping what is a marketing funnel, it just means like, building brand awareness, which is, ensuring that your brand is exposed as much as possible to as many customers. This is measured by impressions, right? So I highly recommend our sellers to take note of like the key metrics. For consideration, we usually measure via clicks, right? How do you get the sense whether people have purchase intent, whether they are buying into your brand and your product story? Is the click-through rate, right? From impressions towards your clicks, how many people actually are bothering to click into your ad? And then last but not least, it's also purchase, then that's conversion, right? So how do we actually, use the different ad products at every, different stage, right? So at the awareness stage, using sponsored products and sponsored brands together, they will actually help your brand gain visibility at the top of the search results page, right? Top of shopping results page. So you'll notice that a lot of people will tell you like, oh, I want to rank higher on the search results page. I want to, appear on the first search results page. Why? It's definitely really to increase awareness, especially when you have a new product launch, or you are a new seller, right? And At the new seller stage, the most important metric at the beginning, I know sales is important for everyone, but at the beginning stage of a product life cycle, impressions is also important. If you are not getting any impressions as well, it's also a big problem, and we need to adjust our targeting strategy, for example, to ensure we are exposed to more people. And then once we are more exposed to more people, consideration stage, this is where, using sponsored products, sponsored brand video, and of course, sponsored display views remarketing, basically to help you bring more customers to your product detail page, right? And this will help you increase the number of customers considering your brand. And last but not least, we also have a conversion stage. This is where everyone is very, very focused on, getting. Oh, so sorry. I should have put myself on do not disturb. But on sponsored display, how to actually encourage conversion, right? Of course, sponsored products is our bread and butter, essentially, right? We should never forget about sponsored products. And it's the easiest tool to drive conversion. But a lot of people forgot about sponsored display. So sponsored display views remarketing is the easiest way for you to also, in a very low effort way, drive conversion, because essentially you're targeting people that have already considered you, right? They have seen your ad before. They might have just forgotten to add to cart and check out. So it's highly recommended for slightly more mature sellers, especially, to do views remarketing, especially if you are already running sponsored product campaigns for a while. Yeah, so it basically helps you re-engage customers who have previously seen your product detail page, but they didn't make a purchase. And you can appear to them again, or you can even appear off Amazon. So, okay, how do we grow at each of this segment, right? So as an example, at the awareness stage, right, as I mentioned, right, one metric we can set for ourselves is impressions, but the other metric we can also set for ourselves can be brand searches, right? Whether or not people are searching for your brand. So you can actually compare with yourself versus other people. How to see? You can actually see on search query performance, for example, on brand analytics, whether or not someone is, for example, searching for kitchen smart, or are they actually searching more towards other brands, for example. We can actually find out on search query performance on brand analytics. And then in terms of tactic, right, okay, how do I want to increase my branded searches? I want more and more people to search for kitchen smart brand. So I would then here, our recommended tactics, for example, would be to launch 2 campaigns. One is to launch a sponsored product campaign, and we can launch a sponsored brands campaign with your brand keywords, basically, right? Especially if you're driving traffic off Amazon, especially if you've been selling for a while, you might want to drive a branded keyword campaign, basically to help ensure that your brand appears at the top of the search results page, right? And you can create basically a product targeting campaign to appear on the detail pages for competitor or similar looking products, right? And then the third is then to combine it with sponsored display. You can again do category targeting, right? Product category targeting, or you can use views remarketing to help drive more awareness, right? And together, as always with sponsored brands campaign, it's always important to ensure you have a store set up, with a basic list of your ASINs and beautiful custom images, so that basically once someone sees you on the top of the search results page, if they choose to go and see your store, then at least they are even more convinced, right, by your branding, by your product selection on your store as well. So this helps you to increase your engagements at even more touch points on Amazon.com. Number 2, so if you're trying to actually drive more consideration, right, actually you see on your ads console, you have a huge amount of impressions. How do you actually get more and more people to click into your ASINs, right? The metric here is detail page views, whether or not people actually click into your detail page, whether they have searched and viewed your detail page. Over here, sorry, and also another metric we can actually take a look at is add to cart. Where to see add to cart, you can see on brand analytics or brand metrics as well. And subsequently, what is the kind of tactic that we want to recommend to increase consideration, right? So essentially, how to get people and drive people towards your product detail page, right? You continue using sponsored brands product collection format, right? So because you want to drive people to your detail page view, So sponsored brands will give you the flexibility of displaying 3 of your different ASINs, right? So you can choose to feature, for example, your new product launch, your best-selling ASIN, and maybe your next best-selling ASIN, right? Depends on your goal. And then subsequently, you can actually run sponsored display campaigns where basically you use audience targeting. So in sponsored display, under audience targeting, there's what we call in-market audiences. In-market audiences mean that they are already searching in that category. Amazon automatically creates an audience pool that has been searching for products that are similar to yours. And you can simply click one button and target people who have already been browsing, for example, for this coffee machine, right? So again, like they are already in the consideration phase. So you just need to target them and ensure that your ad appears in front of their eyes. So product targeting as well as in-market sponsored display audience targeting will be one good way for us to drive detail page views. And you can leverage your store and your post to drive consideration for their brand and their selection. And of course, last but not least, under consideration, you want people to search your brand, you want people to view your detail page. What should we do? I think especially when it comes to branding, right? You want people to slowly become more and more familiar with your brand. We always recommend sponsored brands video format because video format gives you the most or the longest chance to talk about your brand story. So essentially, you can actually set up a sponsored brand video campaign. You can bid on your hero keywords. You can bid on other brands' keywords and products to help you increase visibility of your own brand, right? So maybe for Kitchen Smart, maybe they have a competitor, which is, for example, Hui Qi Kitchen. Actually, you could also target Hui Qi Kitchen coffee machines, basically to ensure that you appear on your competitors' branded searches as well. So that's one additional way for you to increase visibility, especially if you are confident that your product has strong product attributes, right? Strong competitive advantage. Then why not? If this is your new selling ASIN or this is your best seller, your best ever product, you might want to target competitors that are, for example, much higher price than you, or they have less function than you. How to convince them to switch over? I feel sponsored brands video gives you much more control in terms of talking about the multiple different product benefits that you have. So sponsored brands video will be one good way. Number 2, this is free and it's low effort. So I hope most sellers do this, right? You just want to ensure that you call out your best sellers on your store as well. So anytime someone searches for your brand, for Kitchen Smart, for example, it reduces the decision fatigue, right? They just want to see your best-selling ASIN. So just make it easy for someone to click onto your best-selling page and help them make a faster purchase decision from there. Yeah. And of course, how do we actually encourage people to start adding to cart and consider even more, right? Slowly moving towards actually making the final purchase. Add to cart tactics. We can use sponsored display, views remarketing, as I mentioned, a bit repetitive, but basically you are just targeting people who have viewed similar products, right? The next best practice then will be to improve your product detail page, right? This is the best practice if you see that you have very, very high clicks, but you don't get very high conversion rate, or you don't see sales coming in yet. I can confidently tell you usually the case is that your listing page just needs to be stronger. And how to improve or make your listing page even stronger, make your images more high resolution, put in high quality supplementary images, ensuring your bullet points have really strong keywords, right? And of course, doing A+ content. So that will be one quick way for us to ensure we get more add to carts and potentially also more conversion. Yeah. And number 3, of course, is in terms of driving purchase, right? Everybody wants to basically drive purchase and drive sales as much as possible. Then over here, how do we actually convert people to essentially other brand customers to think of us? And of course, how do we actually ensure that our customers stay loyal to us, right? So again, all these metrics you can find on brand metrics. On the ads console, you can actually see where you stand versus the category median or even the top performers in terms of where you are at each stage of the funnel. So purchase tactics, right? I think a lot of sellers have the conception that if I advertise as much as I can I max out my advertising budget? You know, that is driving a lot of sales and driving a lot of people to purchase my product. But actually, the irony is that if you want to improve your conversion, it's a lot more to do with your listing page, with your store, and with your content actually. So once you have already set up your ad campaigns, you want to convince people to buy into your brand, then of course you have to, you know, ensure you have a high quality store so that you also help drive repeat purchase. You know, create sub pages for your category, highlight your top selling product, use visual tiles like a shoppable image, you know, ensuring the add to cart button appears everywhere. And then, of course, you know, drive posts, right? Additional posts, drive traffic towards your product detail page, right? So that people see not just, you know, this white image, you know, with just a product, right? They might want to see like more beautiful images. You want to ensure that people think of and trust your brand and find more credibility in your brand as well. So use posts as well on top of this. Yeah. So targeting, I've touched on targeting quite a little bit, but essentially, in terms of targeting, right, you know, apart from targeting hero keywords, blah, 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 there are a few different classifications in terms of our targeting, right? So when I say build a hero keyword list, we want to find the actual customer search term, what they are searching for. And then basically we build a list of hero keywords. From just one shopping query, we can actually use and create multiple different keywords, which is, you know, for example, video camera 4K, video camera, professional camera. These are all hints about the product feature that is the most important to customers. And then what you want to do is to plug and play these keywords into your ad, into your sponsored display, for example, into your headlines in your sponsored brands, and also into your listing page as well. So, you know, when I say improve your listing page, find hero keywords, these are the hero keyword list that you also must pack into your listing page as well, right? Just as a recap for our targeting overview, we have automatic targeting for sponsored products and sponsored ads. We have manual targeting, and then we also have negative targeting. So this is just a recap. I won't stay too long. Yeah. So there are different kind of strategies, right, when it comes to keyword targeting and the product targeting, how we can actually kind of protect, for example, our own brand, how we can expand, right, for mature sellers. You know, once you hit a certain size, how do you make sure that you occupy a large market share, category presence, for example. Number 3 is reach. You know, how do you reach more customers, or can you reach new to brand customers, for example, right? Number 4 is, of course, you know, launch strategy. We can also use targeting to cross-sell. So for example, if you are a seller that sells, you know, PC equipment, then you sell both keyboard, mouses, or, you know, computer screens. How do you cross-sell it, right? It's also using targeting. Number 6, of course, you know, coming up towards Prime Big Deal Days, we want to promote our deal and coupon ASINs, right? So also we can target and get more traffic using keyword targeting. So people might be searching, for example, for Prime Day deals, for example. So we want to target literally the word Prime Day deals, for example, to make sure we capture all that traffic. Yeah, and last but not least, right, one objective we can is to A/B test our video creative or our custom image creative when it comes to setting up our ad campaigns. So here you can see, right, you know, people will try to group campaigns in like different buckets based on your goals. And then you just pick the targeting methods that can help you achieve your goal. So there are 4 examples, you know, how we can do different targeting methods, right? So for branded keywords and ASINs, so for example, 惠qi coffee machine, 惠qi, you know, coffee beans, for example, right? These are all keywords or tactics like we can use for protect, cross-sell, as well as launch, as an example, right? And of course, you know, for example, for generic keywords and targets, why are we targeting, for example, coffee machines as a very, very broad category? The goal could be that we just want to expand our brand presence. We want to expand and capture more new to brand customers. And, you know, why do we target maybe competitor brands, keywords and ASINs? Again, is to, you know, basically open more sources for potential new customers to think of our brand as well, right? And of course, last but not least, I will always recommend sellers to keep a basic automatic targeting campaign always on, so that you basically continuously have a campaign that tells you the latest keywords the latest best performing hero keywords for yourself, right? And this is also the easiest launch campaign for a lot of new sellers. So I highly recommend all of our sellers to sustain a automatic campaign always on, so that you keep track of what is the trending keywords, for example, in your category as well. Yeah. So how to actually structure your different campaigns, right? I think a lot of sellers always are also confused. Wow, Hui-Qi, you want me to run so many different ad solutions? Then how do I actually structure my different campaigns together? So I think for a lot of our Southeast Asia-based sellers, it's most of the time, if you run campaigns on other sites, you just kind of dump all your products into one campaign and you just hope for the best. But on Amazon, I would recommend that you structure it very, very clearly by our ad solution. So in this example, for example, I'll put a Hui-Qi brand or brand X, right? And then you will want to create completely separate different campaigns for sponsored products, sponsored brands, and sponsored display. And then essentially you want to create campaigns based on your goals, right? So for example, if you are already a mature seller and you have a best-selling ASIN, then you want to create one separate campaign for sponsored products and one separate campaign for your brands. And basically choose your brand keywords and your ASINs that you want to protect, right? And essentially set up the campaign on its own. One sponsored product, one sponsored brand. Keyword targeting is your branded keywords, and do product targeting. So you basically protect your brand and you cross-sell within your brand. And then how to mix and match with sponsored display, cross-sell your own ASINs, right? As I mentioned, you want to target, my keyboard together with my computer screen, for example, just to ensure that the product detail page is protected with your own brand. Number two, if you want to, for example, actually expand your reach and promote your products even more, right? Then the alternative is then to either set up a sponsored products or sponsored brand campaign where you choose other brand keywords and ASINs to reach your new customers, right? Same thing for sponsored display. You can choose other brand ASINs and do product targeting on sponsored display as well. Last but not least, of course, within targeting as well, if you want to expand your category, right, you want to expand your market share in your category, you can actually choose keywords from your category without your brand names, right, or ASINs, and categories from your own. So for example, the example here is, really like if you're a mature seller, you feel like, wow, your sales has been stable for a while, but how to actually grab more sales, grab new to brand sales? You might want to again start targeting, for example, complementary ASINs, or if I operate in the coffee machine space, right, I might actually want to consider targeting a bit broader already. Target the home category. Target, for example, what is commonly bought with a coffee machine or people searching within a kitchen. You might want to try targeting other categories so that basically, people start getting familiar with your brands, and basically you just try to get more new to brand sales. Otherwise, you can use sponsored display and you can do audience targeting, or you choose complementary ASINs outside of your category. And the last is almost the same, right? Once you want to start expanding outside of your category, at this stage, we are assuming that you have already done almost all of the above, right? You have already used branded keywords. You already have hero keyword list. You have already reached a lot of market search volume share. Then is to actually start targeting outside of your category. In the kitchen space, you might want to start targeting like other home decor items, or kitchen items, kitchen storage ideas, because commonly people will add multiple products to their cart. So then you're just trying to grab additional traffic, additional sales from other categories or ASINs. And you can expand more of your audiences with your views and like interest targeting. So this is the general grouping structure. Group definitely by your goal, what kind of goal that you're actually aiming for as an advertiser, and completely separate each of the campaigns, right? Sponsored product, protect campaign, and then do branded keyword ASIN. Separately, sponsored brands, protect campaign with your branded keywords and ASINs. So highly recommend our sellers to separate the campaigns clearly so that each campaign, how effective it is, gives you a bit more flexibility to adjust your performance as well. Yeah. So the key takeaway over here is that basically, I highly recommend our sellers to actually use multiple different solutions actually together, because it allows you to actually do different kind of approach, right? Once you become a bit more advanced with your advertising. A lot of sellers I meet, like, I recommend you do sponsored product automatic first, and then you find hero keywords, right? And then you do manual targeting. But then how to extend and how to mix and match beyond that, here are some ideas, basically, like in terms of a recap, right? You can actually do tactical cross-selling, for example. You can actually try using sponsored display, for example, to find even more traffic, even more consumers. You can do remarketing, for example. Otherwise, you can simply just choose to, do a new product launch, appear on top of search results page, where you basically use sponsored products plus sponsored brands, for example, to appear on the top of the search results page for yourselves. So this is how we can actually mix and match different ad solutions on Amazon. And we'll actually pause here for any Q&A.
Yep, that's right. Thanks for sharing. So there are some more questions, but let me go through quickly. So there are some resources I'd like to share. In the QR code here, there's actually an ads knowledge guide, right? So if you scan the QR code, if you scroll down, I'm not sure if the video will play or not. Yeah, if you scroll down, you can see there is a Amazon ads logo. You click on it, you can download the ads guide as well to further deep dive into all the things that Huiqi shared as well. Okay. All right, and then we have other webinars coming out in October, and then we also have another one with Huiqi on the 24th of October as well. So do remember to sign up in the same QR code. All right.